Good evening, America. You with the messenger, Third Eye Knowledge. Lots of stuff to get into today, so I want America to go to TYT. A couple post-game searches when Shank and Anna, John Ayadola, the damage report, and also the TDPS, the David Pakman show. They covered a lot of the continuing violence and police brutality in this country, and the fact that Trump is now, believe it or not, a fascist gangster. Your president in America does not care. He doesn't want to address it. He's going to say anything that he can say to finally implement martial law and make the elitist society number one. But what I wanted to say to my fellow protesters and people in full swing in trying to correct the injustice and systemic failure in this country, that now that we've made our mark in damage and violence, let's now bring it down to a point where we can organize with our eyes. We need to organize, figure out who's infiltrating the protests as well. There's been undercover cops and Federal Bureau of Investigation correspondents infiltrating many protests around the country, payoffs to cops to initiate violence against the silent protesters, the peaceful protesters. You can go look this up. It's not a fucking secret. I wanted to say to America tonight, what are we going to do when every state in this country has a curfew and we even have more people unemployed? What are we going to do when we don't have access to income? 50 states, over 7 million people in this country. What are you going to do? You're going to kill each other. I want y'all to just marinate on that. That's why I pause. I do pauses in the video because I want people to marinate for a second on what just fell out of my mouth. Because I don't think nobody's thinking. I don't think a lot of Americans either are. You've been browbeat so much for the past 3 months on top of a pandemic and the systematic failure in unemployment as well, on top of the bad policing, on top of the inadequate access to any safety net that your fascist gangster president took away. You're not thinking because you're angry and you're pissed and you're fucking raging. Believe me, America, if they put a curfew in my state, we're all losing our apartments and we're all losing our jobs. So have any of you actually stopped and thought that you may have no other way while you're being cornered through everything that you're going through? Have any other realization that the end result may have to be violence? That you might have to take on these martial guard motherfuckers? So I asked the question, America, will you think about what you just heard? So, Mr. Third Eye, what do we do with that? Okay, I'll tell you what we do with that. Organize and unite. More than anything else in this country, we need to organize after we unite. Put the fucking black and the white. Fuck that shit. We got a bigger problem now. Because now that your president just issued Section 331, which is a terrorist legislation against terror, it's anti-terrorism. They're going to start breaking up these peaceful protests like nobody's business, and if you don't break it up, they'll just shoot you. Keep weapons near your protests. I don't give a fuck what platform I'm on. You need to keep weapons handy. And I advise every community that's around this protests, start shielding your windows because we're going to fight. We're going to have to fight, America. Violence may have to be a resort. Your system doesn't care. Your system is more focused on how this is affecting the public sector and their precious fucking societies than your homes and your jobs. Is Trump going to get another 4 years? That's what they're concerned about in Washington. Rich white people don't give a shit. And we need to realize that it's not the folk in the community, not us. We're on your side. Like I said in my video last night, America, we're on your side. We are bumping out videos, trying to get platforms started. You see it on YouTube. People are trying to get every bit of information to the protesters and everybody that knows that there's a fucking major problem in public service, law enforcement, adequate access to employment and education, healthcare. This country's a fucking joke, and we know that. But who's giving you the punchline? United States government. Trump administration. These people want us dead. That's why I say, tonight you may need to consider violence on the back burner very soon. They're going to stop at nothing to destroy this fucking culture. They're going to stop at nothing to destroy our society. That's what happens when you have people in legislation, even at state government level. State government's to blame too. That, oh, we're going to get right on it. We're going to make this and that, and nothing happened. A couple little smidgets to some changes here and there. But America, nothing ever happened. Nothing was ever changed. But as your president showed you today, I'm going to kill you if you have a problem with me. I'm not going to listen to your problem. I'm not going to address the nation. I'm not going to make you feel. I'm going to kill you. That's what Donald Trump said this afternoon at 4 p.m. I'm going to kill you. Remember that. So I advise America to make the video short so everybody can go back to figuring out how they're going to get through this next crisis. If it comes to curfews and everyone losing their jobs and losing their homes, I want America to remember this very, very simple thing. Violence has to go where the reason why violence started. Go after the people that allowed George Floyd to fucking suffocate to death. And who could have stopped that many years ago? Who could have stopped Donald Trump from receiving the highest public service and most protected public service in this country, too? If we just sit and think, ponder, ask yourselves the questions that were considered conspiracy or and just conspiracy theories, and overexcited and over-exaggerated rhetoric is what this is considered, which I don't understand why, because everything I've said on these videos for 6 months has become a reality. Will you kill and will you defend your neighbor? Or will you give up, or will you give into your anger and take out your neighbor and give this system and administration and government more space so they can do whatever the hell they want with this? And with us dead, America, do you think they're going to take in other countries and refugees? Of course they're not. Because once they realize that they're going to be worked to death and starved to death and arrested for being black, Asian, Hispanic, Native American, or poor white folk, they don't care. Human beings to the United States government and every form of government are only but expendable and disposable and can be replaced within a 12 to 24-hour time period. They don't care. That's why I'm telling the American people to stop and think, because you need to start realizing Trump supporters, extreme right-wingers, and part of Ku Klux Klan, white supremacy groups, this, that, and the next thing. Either you get on our side or we'll just put you in the ground. Because that's exactly where this country has been taken to. And we've been taken to throwdown level. We've been taken to put a bullet in them level. We've been taken to fuck the peaceful protest, just start shooting. That's exactly how far this country's come in about 2 weeks. It went from, okay, now we're getting over coronavirus, we're about to open up the country, to a cracker just killed this poor innocent black man, and now we're going to start taking out everybody and everything, and the government just got involved today and said, you say anything about the way our precious system that we believe is working perfectly fine, we're going to kill you. Remember that. And start thinking about who you should be supporting, who you should be trying to understand, whose perception and whose point of view you should be trying to understand. Because Trump supporters, right-wingers, country bumpkins, whatever the fuck you want to be called, they'll put a bullet in you too. They'll turn their backs on you too. They don't give a fuck, because they're a cult and a fascist mafia. That is who is sitting in Washington, D.C.